Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's a video you've all been waiting for the whole week. It's been building up to this. It's time to preview and predict the derby tomorrow against Rangers. We're over at Celtic Park, an empty stadium of course, and in Ryan Kent's case, no stadium at all, but it's going to be different. Certainly a completely different vibe going into this, considering we're not actually there. But nonetheless, we all know what to expect of the team. We all know we're the champions for a reason. We should be taking this game to Rangers. There's a lot to discuss, so let's just get right into the video and discuss what I think is going to happen as we take on Rangers tomorrow afternoon. Okay then, as I've mentioned, match preview time. If you want a really good in-depth discussion about the game tomorrow and the rest of the Scottish Premiership games taking place, and make sure to head over to Talk Scottish Football. Me, myself, Sharp Div, the Rangers fan, and Big Dave, who's now started his own channel. Make sure to subscribe to that. We're discussing the game yesterday in depth. A very good discussion on there, and also on Sharp Div's channel, a video including myself. If you want to see me kick a ball, finish it like Patrick Klamala, then make sure to head over there. It was an amazing video, had a lot of fun shooting it, so a shout out to those two guys. The links to their channels will be in the description below, and of course the Talk Scottish Football channel. Also, usually this is my day to do the Scottish Premiership predictions video, where I do every game and give my predictions for those, but this week I'm going to give that a miss. I will probably throw my predictions on screen at the end of the video for the rest of the games. That was meant to be coming out yesterday, never got the time with the amount of filming and stuff I've done, so it will return next week, don't worry about that. So Celtic heading into this game, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about that COVID crisis that we have found ourselves in. Neil Lennon was in his press conference this morning. He was talking about how Odsonne-Édouard will be assessed today, returning to training for tomorrow, which gives me the indication we will see Édouard involved in the game on Saturday or tomorrow now. And in that game, I think that he now will start. If he's available, I don't see why Neil Lennon wouldn't. Look, yes, he might not be feeling up to it. He might have been struggling over the past couple of weeks, being someone who tested positive for coronavirus, but he's an athlete, man. He's at the peak of his physical condition. I'm sure he's been training hard while he can. I'm sure he probably hasn't been affected too greatly. I mean, if he was, I'm sure we would have heard about it if he was struggling, but it looks as though he's ready to go. Neil Lennon spoke positively. They're talking about Ryan Christie perhaps being available for the game, which I believe is fair, considering Kieran Tierney's allowed to play for Arsenal this weekend, so why up here would Ryan Christie not be allowed to play? He has tested negative numerous times, and people from the other side, or other supporters, or maybe not even football fans, would be saying, well, how can that happen if he's tested positive, maybe isolating for 14 days? These guys are different in the sense that they're tested every single day, tested numerous times over the course of a 1 week period, whereas a normal citizen such as me, or maybe some of these people watching, we're only tested once and we find out what happens if we think we've got symptoms or whatever, and then perhaps at the end of your 2 week period, if you've tested positive, to see if you've still got it or no, you go again. But these players are tested every day. Ryan Christie is safe and able to return to training and play football this Saturday, so I'm not too bothered. I'm not going to cry about it if he can't play, but Neil Lennon speaking as if he may be involved in the game. We'll see what happens. And then of course Beaton and El Ahmed will miss out in the game after testing positive on international duty for Israel. Cutting right to the chase, I don't think this should affect us that much. Yes, it would be great to have these players available that could miss out: Christie, El Ahmed, Beaton. For me, Beaton would have been one of the first names in the team sheet with the way he's been playing. He brings such a calmness to the back line, which for this game would be great, because I think we've been a bit erratic in the past. I think we've been a bit, I don't know, rushy. You know, we've been rushing about. Rushy's not a word, but you know what I mean. We've been a bit all over the place at times, and I feel like Rangers have caused us a lot of problems, and our defending has not helped. Our defending has just been very out of order. You know, we've not had that calmness in the back line, which I think Near Beaton would have brought to the game. Missing him is probably the biggest negative, but look, let's take this COVID crisis away for a moment. Let's put it to the side. Our team is still good enough, if not better than Rangers. It is better than Rangers' team. We know that for a fact. There's not much of a debate there. 11 for 11, this is a better team. Obviously on the day is what matters, but it's a better team. We have the players to go out and beat Rangers, and it's what I expect us to do. If you look at the 11 that we potentially will start against Rangers tomorrow, it's a team more than capable of getting the job done, and that's without Christie, El Ahmed, Beaton, and even Édouard if he wasn't available. Without those four, we still have a team that's good enough. So this crisis, I don't think, should keep us hold us back from doing our job tomorrow. It's all about performing on the day. Which brings me on to the next discussion that I want to talk about before we talk about the opponents, and that is on the day. The last two Old Firm games, we have not been there on the day. Yes, we walked away with the League Cup at Hampden last year. Happy days, I'm not going to complain about that. But on the pitch, we were dominated. We were walked all over, and there's no taking away from that. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it or sugarcoat it. Rangers have been the far superior team on the day of these games in the last two meetings. They have won the battle in the middle of the park. They've made us look amateur in the middle of the park at times, and that's a big credit to them. And players like Ryan Kent have had a lot of fun in these games up against weak fullbacks. This time we need to make sure we're there. Wake up. I don't know what exactly went wrong for Neil Lennon and the side on these last two meetings, but we need to fix that tomorrow, and it's very interesting coming into this game with the 5-3-2. It's going to be the first time we'll be using that against Rangers if Neil Lennon chooses to go that route. For me, I'm so gutted we never got to play them in March, because everything was pointing towards an absolute scalping. Celtic were scoring goals for fun, battering everybody put in front of us, and Rangers were struggling. It was going to be a bloodbath. I think Rangers would have been demolished, but then of course football was curtailed, we've seen things called off, and we never got that meeting, and that was us playing our best at the 5-3-2. The difference is now, heading into this game, we're not quite playing our best at the 5-3-2, but I'm still very intrigued to see how it will line up against Rangers. I think the 5-3-2 will allow us to be better out wide. Frimpong playing at the right wing back, I think will be very entertaining against Rangers. I think it's exactly what we need. I think in the middle of the park we're a lot more organised with the three guys playing in whatever role they may. Scott Brown, if it is, it'll be Brown and McGregor definitely. Say and Cham is in there as well. I think those three in the middle of the park in that 5-3-2 is now a chance to improve on what has been a lost battle in the last two affairs. So I'm excited to see that. Ultimately, I don't think we're going to be in for the same sort of result we could have been in March, but the team it's going to be very entertaining. Two strikers up front, hopefully firing all cylinders against Rangers. Very entertaining stuff potentially in the works for us. Of course, the international break has came, and I think it couldn't have came at a better time for Celtic heading into the Old Firm. I'm so glad that we're playing them now rather than say it was the last game before the international break. Players needed this, and I was all against the international break. I think it was ridiculous to keep the international break going with the way the world is right now, and you've seen that reflect in the players at Celtic having to go and isolate and catching the virus, blah blah blah. I would have loved to have seen the international break postponed, but for Celtic in terms of on the park, couldn't have happened at a better time going to this game. Edouard was in dire need of a rest, I think, and he was not in poor form. A few other players went up to scratch. Some of our results weren't exactly great to watch. We were getting them done, and that's what mattered, the 3 points. But against St Johnstone, you've seen it, took us 90 minutes to get a goal. And you could see the team tiring, you could see that they needed something to break this up. Couldn't have happened at a better time. And yes, international break can mean one of two things. You can come back very energised, raring to go and scoring goals. You can maybe come back forgetting what you're doing. You can forget where you picked, where you left off, and you might not pick it up the way that you want, but I don't think it could have happened at a better time for Celtic. Which brings us on to the opposition, and that is Rangers, who are, having a great season too. Top of the league right now. We've obviously got a game in hand, but they are top of the table for a reason. They've been playing very well, and we can't hide away from that. They've been scoring goals. Ryan Kent is having an absolute fantastic season. I mean, if you're looking at form right now, he is playing like the best player in the league. Of course, he's not the best player in the league. We still have Edouard here on our side and a few others, but right now there's no debate that he's probably been playing like the best. He's having a great season after a lot of criticism from people like myself. Didn't think he was that great, and this year he's proven a lot of those doubters wrong. So Rangers will be going into this with, I think, the exact same game plan they've took to the majority of games this season. Speaking to Div over the last couple of days was interesting. Team selection could be up for debate. They might go with different systems. Rangers lining up in a 4-3-3. Will they go for that? Will they change it up? It's going to be very interesting to watch, but look, Celtic are serial winners. And we should be able to cope against Rangers. Rangers struggled against Hibs. You've seen that performance become a little bit frustrating for them in that game. As the game went on and it created more chances, you could still see the frustration build in Rangers. And that's what we need to do. We need to force them into being frustrated. We need to force them into making mistakes, perhaps taking rash opportunities that they normally wouldn't. They're very good at driving directly into the opposition. You know, they could just create something out of nothing. They like to be ruthless, very aggressive in their attack, and we need to match that. I think a big problem with Celtics this year is we haven't been that aggressive in their attacks, and yes, we are scoring more goals. I mean, the league table goes to show that. I'm sure. But, you know, we've been more kind of passing the ball about, taking it easy, work our way to the box, whereas Rangers like to be aggressive, get it done, and put it in the back of the net with any means necessary. We need to match that. Because if we don't, and we're very lackadaisical on the day, and we're laid back, Rangers will take advantage of it. They will, and I've no doubt about that, because they've done it in the last couple of games at Celtic Park. It was embarrassing to watch as we sat there and thought we could just stroll the game, thought we could control the tempo, and we couldn't, because we couldn't put up with how fast-paced Rangers were. And ultimately that's how we lost. So Rangers will go into this with confidence, no doubt about that, and rightly so with the way they've been playing. They've been playing well in Europe too. It's going to be intriguing. A few players to worry about there. I think Kent is the main one. A few players not to worry about. Morelos being the main one. But ultimately, this could be a very entertaining derby match, which could set the tone for the season. I'm still in the mindset it's far too early for this game to decide anything. Last year proved that, because we just cancelled each other out in the two games. You know, we still won at Celtic Park, they still won at Ibrox. Never happened, it reversed about, and by the end of the day we were 13 points clear anyway. But it could set the tone for the next few weeks, certainly. I don't think that it's going to be a title decider, these games, quite yet. But Steven Gerrard knows what to expect from his team. And I think that the players will benefit from no fans being there. I think playing without that expectation, the crowd being on their back, despite it would only been 800 anyway, is a real positive for them. So it's going to be dangerous to watch, but like, Celtic are miles better, man. On paper, their team is better. But one thing Rangers have done over the last couple of games is prove that sometimes on paper, doesn't exactly matter. Which brings me on to my starting 11 predictions and my score predictions. This is the entertaining part of the video. For me, the team is very, very interesting for Neil Lennon this weekend because of the situation he's found himself in. Will Edouard start the game? That is one of the major talking points of the match. Barkas in goals, absolutely no doubt about it. On a normal situation and the way we've been playing, Beaton would have been in front of him in that back line, but I think it's going to be Ayer, Duffy and Jullien. First derby match for Shane Duffy. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to beat Rangers and perhaps get himself on the score sheet. Who knows? We need to utilise these set pieces. We need to get our delivery spot on. Shane Duffy's got to be ready to rise above them all, and he could get himself a goal, who knows. But Ayer, Duffy and Jullien returning after a small break due to injury. Big match for him, man. He's got to prove himself. He's been very poor so far this season, I think. Not very poor, that's a bit harsh, but he's been poorer than the standard I think he set himself last year. So he's got to return with a big performance. Frimpong on the right hand side. The question is, left hand side, will Neil Lennon throw Diego Laxalt into the deep end, or will he stick with Greg Taylor for this game? Diego Laxalt, yes, big game for him, but he's a big game player. He's a World Cup team of the tournament player. I seen an article the other day talking about how Celtic have apparently got one of the top 10 left backs in the world. I'm not going to buy into that theory quite yet, but he is a top player, and it showed through how well he played at the biggest tournament in football. I think Taylor will play. I do. I think Neil Lennon will start Greg Taylor. And I think if Diego Laxalt was to play, if he was to have a rotten game, it would take a little bit of forgiveness from the fans over the next few weeks. And I don't think we're quite in that kind of mindset to have that burden added on to what has already been quite a judgmental season. A lot of fans getting on the back of players, management, etc. I think Greg Taylor will start. And if so, Laxalt can come on. We've got him there, don't worry. Middle, I think it's going to be Brown, McGregor and Cham. I do. I think McGregor will sit forward in front of they two. I think those two will sit in behind. Brown, man, he's got to control the game. He's got to be on his best. He's got to play like he has the last 3 games, not how he's been playing before that. If he plays anything like he has the last 3 games, he'll stroll it. He will. He'll not have a problem with Ryan Jack or Glenn Kamara or Scott Arfield or whoever he's playing up against, Stephen Davis. Won't have a problem at all if he just makes sure he plays the way he has been. And then up front, what is going to be the combination? I think in an ideal world you want 100% out of both Edouard and Ayeti to start the game. I, at the start of the week, made my video of course where I said this will be the team playing, and I put Ayeti and Kamara in there. And now that Edouard is back, I think it could be him and Ayeti that starts up front. I think Kamara is very hungry and I want to see him come on into the game, and the same with Lee Griffiths as well. I want to see the both. I would love to see all 4 strikers get a slice of action. I really would. Will it happen? Don't know. But I'm going to go Edouard and Ayeti to play it safe here. And Neil Lennon, I think, will want to have Edouard involved in the game too. So that does it, that's my preview and predictions. The score, I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. Let's play it safe, let's not make any bold claims, and let's not make something that will come back to throw it in the face, despite the fact that Rangers TikTok will probably clip it anyway, because 2-1 is such an outrageous claim, but it is what it is. I don't care, I love it, abuse me all you like. Like and subscribe, I'll see you all next. Why did I do that, man? Bye.